The grand chandeliers of the Langston Hotel glittered like frozen stars, casting a golden glow across silk gowns and polished shoes. It was the charity ball of the season where money wasn't just given, it was displayed, celebrated, paraded like an art piece. Marissa Langdon knew she shouldn't have come. She smoothed the champagne-colored satin of her gown, the fabric whispering against her skin as if reminding her she didn't quite belong here anymore. Once, she had been the wife of the evening's most sought-after guest, Adrian Langdon, real estate tycoon, kingmaker, and the man who had made success a brand worn on his cufflinks. Now she was his ex. Marissa entered with her new husband, Daniel Everett, who kept her hand steady with his calm grip. Daniel was not as ostentatious as Adrian. He carried his wealth like a quiet shadow, no flash, no bragging, only an aura of assured power. Few here knew him, and Marissa preferred it that way. The string quartet swelled as the Langstons made their entrance. Adrian in his signature black tuxedo, his new flame, a socialite barely 30 in glittering emerald at his arm. They were a perfect picture of moneyed glamour. The crowd tilted like iron filings toward a magnet, surrounding them with smiles sharp enough to cut glass. Adrian's eyes skimmed the ballroom until they landed on Marissa. For the briefest flicker, recognition stirred in his gaze. Then it vanished, replaced by the cool indifference of a man acknowledging an employee rather than the woman who once shared his bed. Marissa felt her throat tighten. She had prepared for this moment, but his deliberate dismissal was a sharper wound than she expected. "Don't," Daniel murmured at her side, his voice low, grounding. She forced a smile, nodding. "I'm fine." But she wasn't, not entirely. The evening unfolded in waves of champagne toasts and glittering conversations. Marissa caught snippets, stock predictions, vacation estates, the latest art acquisitions. She had played this game once, and though she was out of practice, the rhythm of it returned, like a language you never truly forget. Adrian worked the room like a maestro, every gesture calculated, every smile another performance. His new partner laughed too loudly at jokes rehearsed for effect. Watching them made Marissa ache not for him, but for the years she had wasted trying to mold herself into his version of a trophy wife. A tap on her shoulder interrupted her thoughts. "Mrs. Everett," a board member said, his tone carrying both curiosity and caution. "I don't believe we've had the chance to meet your husband." Daniel extended his hand. "Daniel Everett, pleasure." The name rippled through the air like a pebble thrown into water. Eyes widened, conversation stuttered. Suddenly, Daniel wasn't just the quiet man at Marissa's side. He was that Daniel Everett, the Everett Capital Group, billion-dollar investments. Silent power across technology, infrastructure, even Adrian's real estate empire. Adrian, halfway through a story, faltered when he noticed the shift. His gaze cut across the room, sharp and assessing, until it landed on Daniel shaking hands, his smile calm, controlled, unshakably confident. The color drained slightly from Adrian's face. Adrian approached, his every step calculated to appear casual. But Marissa saw the tension in his jaw, the flick of irritation in his eyes. "Daniel Everett," Adrian said smoothly, extending a hand. "I didn't expect to see you here tonight." Daniel shook it firmly, unbothered. "I like to keep an eye on where my money goes." The words hung in the air like a guillotine blade. The small cluster of donors around them exchanged startled glances. Marissa fought the urge to smirk. She knew what Adrian was calculating at that very moment. Everett Capital was his primary investor. Without Daniel, Adrian's empire was paper without ink. Adrian's gaze slid to Marissa as if truly seeing her for the first time tonight. His polite smile barely concealed the storm beneath. "And you're with Marissa now." Daniel's arm slid around her waist, protective yet unshowy. "Yes, I am." Marissa tilted her chin, meeting Adrian's gaze with quiet defiance. "Life has a way of surprising us all, doesn't it?" The surrounding crowd, hungry for drama, addicted to spectacle soaked in every word. The orchestra swelled into a waltz, but no one moved. The real dance was happening in the circle forming around Adrian, Daniel, and Marissa. Adrian's partner, sensing her place as little more than a background prop, tugged lightly at his sleeve. He ignored her. His focus was locked entirely on Marissa. "You look different," Adrian said finally, the faintest trace of bitterness in his tone. Marissa's laugh was soft, genuine. "Freedom suits me." A murmur rippled through the crowd. Some turned their heads away, feigning disinterest. Others leaned closer, unwilling to miss a word. Adrian's facade cracked for just a moment, revealing the man who had once cut her down with every word, who had silenced her in gilded cages of wealth and status. But that man no longer held any power, because Daniel did not just stand beside her, he stood with her. The evening carried on, though the tension lingered like perfume in the air. Adrian attempted to reclaim the spotlight, but whispers followed him like shadows. Guests drifted toward Marissa and Daniel instead, eager to align themselves with Everett Capital's quiet influence. Marissa watched it unfold with a strange calm. Years ago, she had craved Adrian's approval, his validation, his spotlight. Tonight, she didn't need any of it. Daniel leaned down, his voice for her ears alone. "He doesn't matter, I know," she whispered back. And for the first time, she meant it. At the final toast, Adrian raised his glass, his smile brittle. To generosity and to the future. Daniel lifted his glass as well. To partnerships that last. His gaze held Adrian's, steady, unflinching. The crowd erupted in polite applause. But beneath the surface, everyone understood the message. Adrian's future depended on Daniel's partnership, not the other way around. As the evening drew to a close, Marissa and Daniel prepared to leave. The night air outside was cool, crisp, free of the suffocating weight of chandeliers and champagne. Marissa paused at the grand steps, glancing back once. Adrian stood inside, his jaw set, his mask cracking under the weight of humiliation. He had dismissed her, ignored her, believed her irrelevant. And yet, in the end, it was Marissa who had walked out stronger seen, respected, untouchable in her own right. Daniel squeezed her hand. "Ready to go?" She smiled, radiant. More than ready. The limousine door shut behind them, sealing the night's chapter. And though the city lights glittered like jewels, none shone brighter than the quiet triumph in Marissa's heart.